Welcome to the Aligned Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey Kerslake, CEO of personal branding agency, Pinegateroad, and business coach to online service providers, coaches, and educators. I know that you believe that living a great life is so much more than the business that you lead or the money that you make. Each week, we'll dive into what it actually takes to live an aligned life with a business that supports it. Let's do this. This show is brought to you by the Aligned Business Academy. Are you so ready to go all in with your online business and hit six figures this year in a way that feels fulfilling and true to you? Apply now for the Aligned Business Academy. This is our signature program that helps you scale your online business with one-on-one and community support, a framework for learning all things online business, and a proprietary 3-part system for scaling while working way less than you are now. Say hello to more freedom, income, and impact. Apply now at pinegateroad.com/academy. That's pinegateroad.com/academy. Hello. I have a really good episode for you. I'm really excited to share this. I actually recorded an entire episode before this, and as I was getting into it, I mentioned that I might go back and listen to one of the recordings that I made last year. And after I listened to what I said to myself literally 1 year ago, I needed to change this. What I just listened to from myself, past Kelsey, telling future Kelsey, me right now, present Kelsey, what I was going through was really on point. And okay, I'm just rambling at you. What today is going to be about is talking through what it feels like to go all in with who future you is. Even if you don't have the time and even if you don't have the money, what making those decisions, those scary decisions towards working towards that future version of you actually feels like. I knew last year that I was going through some massive changes, massive transformation in my own business, and talking to you right now, I know I have the Aligned Business Academy. I've stepped fully into becoming a coach, not fully because I still have the agency, but being a coach and business coaching, being a mentor for other online service providers is a huge piece of my business and my life right now. And I want to travel back 1 year ago. I always talk about how you making decisions in alignment with who you want to be in a year. And this is exactly where I was last year, making a big decision. This was on July 29th, 2019. And today is August 4th, 2020. So it's literally a year and 5 days ago, exactly what I was going through. And I was making a really big decision about jumping into another investment when I literally didn't have the time. I just had a baby. He was 3-4 months old. And I did not have the money to make this investment. And I just want to kind of travel back in time, share what it was like for me, because you might be in the same space when it comes to making an investment or really committing fully in some really scary way, something that feels really uncomfortable for you, to step fully into who you want to be becoming. And this is not easy. I know I talk about this a lot. If it were easy, everybody would be doing this. And it's the fact that you can step into this space, get really not okay, but just force yourself into this uncomfortable space and think through and feel through where you want to go and how you're processing making these decisions. So I'm really excited to share this with you today. I'm going to pause right now and we're just going to get into it. And I'm going to share about what life was like last year as I was thinking about, really fully stepping into coaching, what this decision was, and how I worked through it. And you get my no holds bar processing, brain vomit, all of the things. So man, I am awkwardly excited that this is happening in the middle of me recording this whole entire thing. I have been thinking that a scary investment in my business was on its way, and here it is. So I don't know if you have ever made a big investment in your business and something in your life where you're at this point where you're just like, I do not have the money, but you were so dedicated to stepping into that next thing for yourself and for your business. So you jumped in and made it happen and knew that by doing that, you would be able to create what you want in your business. So I have been in this place 2 times before, and both of them have been for business coaching experiences. And basically it comes to this point where you're just like, I know where I want to head. I know the general direction of where things are going in my life and business. Like I know kind of that next step, and you need a way to be dedicated to it in a higher sense. For me, I've noticed that every time that I know my next step, I don't want to go at it alone. I need the accountability of being in some kind of a program, having a mentor, working with somebody to really help me develop those next steps for my business. It's stuff that I am doing, but I've always wanted to do it with somebody else who could guide me along the way, who's kind of been there before, done the thing, and can help me get there faster instead of me just trying to figure it out on my own. I know that I have the power to figure this stuff out on my own, but I'd rather learn from somebody else's mistakes, follow somebody else's guidance in order to make that happen for my own business. And the last time that I did this, I did it when I was trying to develop an agency for Pinegateroad. Not trying, I did. And I joined a mastermind that was specific to helping agency owners step up as leaders, learn how to hire the right people, all of that kind of stuff. And it was the scariest decision I've ever made. It was a huge investment for me at the time, and stepping into that was like, I'd barely been making months where I could afford it, basically. I had just gone from like one of those like deep times where money was super tight. I wasn't making the right investments, and I just gotten myself out of the hole. And making that investment, I literally like had my biggest month ever after that. I think that there's something that comes to like committing to those next steps for yourself that really helps you step into that next level version. And literally by saying yes to some of those investments, it shifts your entire energy and your entire being to be able to receive that next level of yourself. And I've found that to be true every time that I've invested in something. So, but it doesn't make it any less scary. So, I mean, I've been sharing throughout this thing, like money has been so tight in my business since coming off maternity leave. I'm kind of like hustling through trying to make sales just to make everything like work at this point. And I feel like since getting back from Norfolk, since getting back from my retreat for this same mastermind for building the agencies that I just talked about, I realized that I really want to be stepping into a coaching role more in my business. And I'm still going to be doing it in my like with the branding and all of that kind of stuff. But I really want to develop myself as a leader, as a coach, as a mentor. And I really want to dig into some of that subconscious reprogramming and getting into that internal stuff that really makes big change possible and sustainable for the long term. Because if we just change, the look of our website, if we just change the strategy for our business, if we're not changing who we are as people to level up our mindset, level up our like internal programming, then that isn't going to be sustainable long term. We're always going to fall back on the habits that our habits unless we learn how to reprogram the habits that we have in our life and level up and turn into a new something. So that's where I'm at. And long story short here, basically, like, I've barely made it out of the hole in my business. I'm not even in the hole, but like, I'm barely feeling stable at this point with how much money I have in like savings and all that stuff. Like, I'm basically in that living month to month situation for my business right now. But I think I have not actually made the decision. And I think that's what's cool about maybe recording this right now, is because like I'm seriously in the middle of figuring out if I should step into this next program. It's going to be a big investment. I don't have the money for it. I literally don't have it in my bank account. And stepping into this is going to force me to get resourceful, to figure out ways in which I can create the money, create ways to pay for this over the next year. But it's something that I really, really want to do. And I feel so aligned with it as my next step, because I'm stepping into this internal transformation for the offerings that I'm creating, because I'm stepping into this next level of who I am as a leader and a business owner. I really want to honor that, and I want to get this coaching certification that's going to help me learn not only how to be like a life and business coach, which I already am. Like, I know how to do that stuff. I don't feel that I have to have this certification in order to fulfill the dreams that I want to have. But at the same time, it's just like when I was building the agency. I'd rather have the guidance from somebody who's been there, who knows how to do it, who can support me along that journey, so that I'm not just figuring it out on myself and wasting time that I could be, just catapulting this journey, I guess. And I've always wanted to make those choices that help catapult my journey instead of me trying to figure it out on my own just to save money. So I haven't made the decision yet. I'm really scared. I do not know that I will be able to afford it. I'm freaking out about the money. I'm freaking out about like the fact that I don't have a ton of time now that I have Carter. And I'm like really having to like, in order to do this, I'd have to step fully into like making this my thing and really dedicate like the time necessary to make this work and happen. And this is where that shift is happening. Like, it's happened in the past. It doesn't make it any less hard when you're making another investment, but it's like when I'm fully committed and I know something is in alignment with where I want to head, then like I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that next thing possible. And right now, I really want to step into coaching. I want to step into leadership. I want to step into like forming my vision, forming my voice. And I know in order to do that, I need another transformational experience, just like building an agency was for me. And I'm feeling those same kinds of like, I'm going to poop my pants feelings about this investment. Because it's like, I don't have the money just sitting there. And I'm going to have to like bet on myself and create it as I jump into this program. So I am like 95% certain that I'm going to do it. I'm still like, I'm sitting on it for like maybe another 24 hours while I really check in with my gut and see if this is the right next step for me. I never like to make these decisions like too quickly. Sometimes like I'll rely on my gut and make decisions way too quickly without like thinking through. I don't have to think through everything. Like, I am very much a gut person, but with this, like, I don't just want to willy-nilly dive into it. Like, I want to know that I'm fully committed, and I think I need to like have a few more signs hit me. And I don't know if you guys are like, if you're a person that thinks about signs and some of those like synchronicities that pop up. But I see them as like little like, hey, you're on the right path, things that are popping up. And this is a really weird one. I was talking to my husband yesterday at lunch, like we saw a grasshopper, like on the umbrella on the table that we were sitting under. And it reminded me of this time. I don't know if you know, my parents have a farm in South Dakota. And one year there was this like crazy grasshopper situation. It was like, it was like the plague or something. Like all of these grasshoppers were creating clouds. They were so thick, you could barely see the sun. If you were driving, you had to use your windshield wipers just so you could see the road. It was like snow, like you were in a blizzard, but it was grasshoppers. So what a weird thing, right? Like I just started talking about that. And then today I turn on the Today Show and they're talking about how these like swarms of grasshoppers are hitting Las Vegas, and like it's been like the grasshoppers that nobody's ever seen. And I turn on the TV and it's just the same swarms of grasshoppers that were like popping up all over Las Vegas. That was just like the story I was telling my husband very randomly, like less than 24 hours before. So I think those are kind of the weird synchronicities that like, I haven't told the story about the crazy swarms of grasshoppers in years. And then all of a sudden within 24 hours, like I'm seeing swarms of grasshoppers pop up on the television. So, that's a weird synchronicity. And all of last night I was like panicking because I know I want this and I want the certification and I want to be a part of this group so bad. And I had so much anxiety, in a good way. Like it was like that exciting, like, oh my gosh, I can't even sleep. I'm so excited, about the possibility of me stepping into this next level. And I think that like, as tired as I am right now, because I literally got no sleep last night, I think that that's a really good sign. Like when I get that like hyped up about something, like that is me following my passion. That is me following my heart. And I think that that is also a sign that I need to make this decision for me, for my business, for my next steps. And here's the thing. I don't know like the end game for these next steps. I just know that right now my heart is telling me to lean into coaching, that mentoring people, and forming my voice is like the essence of the next step that I need to be working on. And I think that this opportunity is going to help me dive into that further, explore it more, and like it'll be part of this bigger journey that I don't even know the outcome yet. But I just know that like coaching is a next step for me. And I really want to lean into that. So I think I'm gonna go all in and make this certification thing for my business. I am freaking out. Okay. I think I need to go journal about this a little bit more too, because I just don't know how I'm coming up with the money, guys. I've always like had that safety net, and to not have that, but to be investing in something like this, it freaks me out. So I think what I'm going to do, I've received the grasshopper sign. I know that coaching is my next step, and I know that like I want to go all in and invest in something scary. I haven't been this scared in like a year and a half over my agency investment, and now I think this is my next thing. Like my finances are just getting stable, but I know in order to like catapult everything, I need to make the scary choice and bet in myself. So I think I'm gonna do it. I'm like shaking here. I will keep you posted on what happens. I do think I need to go journal and make like a list of ways that I can make money to pay for this. Always having that like backup plan and like kind of being like, okay, here are the things that I can do in order to create the money I need to pay for the thing. I think that is my next step. I'm going to lean into this. I think I'm going to make a decision by the end of the day. I just think this is going to be a really, really cool opportunity. And I'm going to do it. Oh my God, I just said I'm going to do it, and I don't even know if I'm like, yes yet. Ugh. All right. Here you get the real brain vomit of like what it's like to make a big business decision. Oh, scary. And it's really magical on the other side. I just need to keep telling myself that. And I need to know that I can commit fully. Because that's the thing. Like, sometimes when you're making these choices, it's like you don't believe in yourself sometimes to like make the investments worth it. But if I can fully step into like, yes, like I am going to be a coach. This is my next step. I would like to have the training and the support and the accountability to become the best coach possible to create amazing transformations for my clients. Like, I need to do the hard thing too. And I've done it before, but I need to continually do the hard thing, make the investments, take the risk in order to be in alignment with how I like to show up. Okay. I'll catch you up soon. Ugh. All right, and we're back in 2020. It's kind of crazy thinking about how much has changed since then. So the investment was stepping into the certification, and I did say yes. I was very much in a tough place last year. The business was still making money, but there were a lot of expenses, and especially with the investments I was making, it was a really tough time all of that year, and money was very, very tight. I basically was launching new things every single month so that I could make the payments for that program, so that I could pay my team, so that I could just keep things going the way that I needed to make things go. And from that, the Aligned Business Academy came, and I'd already been coaching. I had what was called Pinegateroad Academy, and I had been mentoring other creative service providers, coaches, educators, and I was really ready for this next evolution, and I had no idea what that would be. And as I was brainstorming and as I got into the certification and I got really clear about how I wanted to be showing up in the world, the Aligned Business Academy really came to me through this process. And I just want to share this with you because when we go into big things, we don't sometimes always know, like, we might know the general realm that we want to head towards, but we don't know all the details. I think that is kind of another thing that sometimes holds us back, where we want to find this clarity about where we're heading before we decide to head there. And that's not really how it works. When you find your clarity by actually taking the steps towards it, and you find clarity along the way. So if you are feeling like you need a plan, you need complete clarity before you head towards where you want to go, know that doesn't really exist, and you're gonna stay where you are because you can't find clarity from thinking through things. The only way that you can find it is through taking action. You can get reflective and all of these things that can be amazing, but you actually have to be taking that action in order to get there as well. So this is just an example of me 1 year ago taking really scary action and figuring things out along the way. And I know if you've been listening for a while or you follow me on Instagram, it's just really cool, like listening back to that and seeing how much of it came true. This is me a year later. I have a thriving agency, a thriving coaching business. I hope this isn't braggy, but I have savings in my bank account that is more savings than I've ever had in my entire life. It's just really crazy how good things are right now. And This isn't going to say that bad things or, tight spots or uncomfortable situations aren't going to happen in the future. But I'm just going to take this time and be like, wow, like I worked through that decision. I did whatever it took to make that work for my life. And I didn't have all the answers. I didn't have all the clarity, but I knew the direction that I wanted to head in. And I believed in myself. I bet on myself, and it paid off. I'm exactly where I want to be right now. And I'm working on this next version of where I want to be heading and where I want the business to grow. And I hope that this just gives you some reflection if you're in a spot like this where you're thinking about making a big investment, or you're thinking about doing something scary that is outside of your comfort zone that feels really big and really new. This is so possible, and you following your heart, you following your intuition towards where you want to be in the next year or two, even if you don't have all of the next steps figured out. Here's your sign to go follow that intuition, to go follow that next version of you, and know that what is on the other side is so much greater and so much bigger than you can ever think through. So there's my note to you today. And thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to all of that and dealing with a weird grasshopper story. Like, I was actually pretty embarrassed. I was like, I hope people don't judge me for talking about signs and grasshoppers, but here we are. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds right now to leave a rating and review on iTunes. It's so simple and helps us so much. This is incredibly helpful for getting this show into more ears so that we can make even more impact. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing week. You've got this.